Hi everybody, welcome back, and if this is your first time, welcome. My name is Haddad, and today I'm going to talk about how my YouTube channel is turning 1 year old and the things I'm proud of over the last year, personal and technical. Now, because of the nature of this video, I'm actually going to split it in two parts. So first, I'm going to do the technical stuff that I've learned about how to have a YouTube channel. For those of you who may be watching me for the first time and are starting your own channels or are considering it, I'm going to try to give you some tips. Okay, but normally that's not what I do. This is not a tutorial channel. This is not a how-to channel. So the second part of the video is going to be what I normally do for those, my subscribers. Everybody's welcome to watch the whole video, obviously, but for those of you that want to know, changes that I've made this year, things that I'm proud of myself for, the second part of the video will be for you. So first of all, thank you to those that posted on the last video about concern for my friend. He's actually fine. It's good. I don't love when I say, here's an important thing, and then it completely changes, like 2 days later. But it was scary, and it's been resolved. So thank you for the well wishes for him and myself. And also thank you for the transparency in the comments, the vulnerability that a lot of you shared, talking about changes that you've made over the last year that you're proud of. That's what I asked because I'm genuinely interested. I spend so much time talking about myself, and there's not really a great outlet for me to hear from other people, at least on YouTube. So thank you for sharing that, especially in a way that it's not like it's just between you and me. Other people are gonna see it, and that was some real stuff. So first part of the video, I've been on YouTube for a year. When I first started, I didn't know, I'd never edited a video. I'd recorded a video, uploaded it to YouTube. I don't know that I even cut out the beginning of the video. It was a long time ago. I was 18 at the time. YouTube was still very new. There was no standard of quality, really. You could kind of do whatever you wanted, but now, beginning YouTube in 2020, there were expectations of what you were posting, But that's actually what I wanted to talk about, is that I thought the expectations for the content that I was uploading was much higher than it actually is. I spent, when I first started, and still catch myself doing this, I spent way too much time perfecting every single video, making sure the sound was balanced just right, which I actually think that's really important, but making sure, 3 frames of audio was perfect. And so a video that should take, an hour to record at most and 3 hours to edit would take the same amount of time to record, but then I would spend 9-10 hours editing this video, and it was just not necessary because the only person who was going to notice the changes I made were myself. Because most of the time when people are sitting down to watch YouTube, it's on their phone, or they've worked hard all day, it's the evening, they're sitting there, they're doing something else, and YouTube's on in the back. But even if they're sitting and they're watching your content intently, they're just not as harsh of critics as we are of our own work. So yeah, the content that you upload needs to be strong. It doesn't need to be technically perfect. It needs to be engaging. I'm still learning how to do that. A year is a long time, but also not that long. A lot of the videos that I post are just me talking. Luckily, I think I'm good at talking, but who wants to just hear some dummy talk for 30 minutes? It's tough. I started adding in music. I started trying to break up videos. This is a good seg into something else. You are much more prone to success in people subscribing and sticking through for the entirety of your video if you ask them to. Watch time is really important. Subscriber count is not quite as important, but still important. And if you ask people to subscribe, ask them to stick around to the end of the video, they're much more likely to. But I never feel comfortable doing that. Sometimes I'm just out with it and I just do it. Like, for example, right now, consider subscribing. But I found a way that I felt more comfortable to do that, which is that I occasionally have this unrelated good news segment, which you'll actually see in a little bit. It's how I'm splitting this video up. And in that, I can share something positive. I can be a little bit more personal, and I can ask people to consider tuning back into some of my other videos, because what I'm doing is real to me. It's important to me. It's not just You know, I'm not just copying, pasting stuff, trying to get views. And so how to generalize that, I suppose, for you, it's okay to do things how you want to do them, duh, right? But it's okay to not do things exactly like other people are doing them. You know, I want to watch very successful YouTubers and do exactly what they're doing. But when I have tried that, I felt bad because that's not me. I have to be authentic. I'm happier when I'm authentic. And so it's okay to take what is helpful from other channels and leave the rest and just do it in a way that works for you, because in the long run, I'll speak for myself. I wouldn't stick with this if I didn't enjoy it, and I won't enjoy it if I'm just doing an impression of someone else. So even though I said, you know, don't spend extra time that is unnecessary editing a video, a couple technical things. I thought I needed a great camera, that I needed a great microphone, that the ring light I'm using wasn't good enough, and that I needed more gear, better inventory, that sort of thing. And sure, I guess the quality of my content would benefit from it. But when I've asked those that watch my videos regularly, how is the audio? Most of them have said it's perfect. I've never noticed a problem with your audio before. Or it's, you know, it's good enough. Again, going back to people watching your videos are not really sitting there critiquing how you've balanced the audio or, you know, the quality of your audio in general. Yeah, if it's really bad, they're going to notice. But if they like you, they'll probably listen anyways. If it's really good, they'll notice too, but they're not going to sit there and shout and jump for joy because it's so good. They're just going to watch the video like they would if your mic quality was just okay. The ring light cost me $10. There's light on my face. Could the light be better? Sure. I don't know much about lighting, but people are watching. My face is lit up. They can see that it's me and that I'm talking, and mission accomplished. My camera is a Logitech C920. It's a relatively inexpensive webcam. I'd say as far as webcams go, it's probably right in the middle as far as cost and quality. And at times I have been embarrassed about it. I have talked over the last year my subscribers to death about changes that I'm going to make. I'm going to get a new camera. I'm actually going to get a phone so I can do this. And the truth is I just don't have the money to do that. And so I haven't changed anything. It's the same camera that I've had since the beginning. And it's fine. Sometimes the video is grainier than I would like it to be. Sometimes it's laggy, you know, like if I move my hand real quick, it actually seems to be doing a good job right now. But after I render the video, sometimes it looks like, you know, it's stuttered. Frames are missing, that kind of thing, or frames are lagging. And yeah, that's not great. I don't like that. But again, that is like 1/10 of a second in your video. And people that aren't you that are watching are not thinking about that 1/10 of a second that happened 15 seconds ago. They're thinking about what you're doing in the video right now, what's happening in the video right now. Don't kill yourself focusing on details that only you care about. I think trying to perfect your art, your content, whatever, is great. I think attention to details is something that more people could benefit from, whatever, but I think that this is a marathon, not a sprint, and when you're paying attention to the details too much, you're going to run yourself into the ground. And hopefully you know, anonymous person I don't know who's considering starting a channel, you will be so successful that at some point you're going to be able to pay people to edit for you, to record for you, to light things dynamically for you, and then you can pay attention to the details because you can pay attention to the details, but you can perfect the details because it's not going to be you doing all the work. If your upload schedule is more lax than mine and you put a video up, you know, once a month, maybe then it's appropriate for you to pay attention to the details precisely like that. But for a lot of us, maybe even most of us, it isn't. I'm not going to recommend what gear you get because I don't know. I use DaVinci Resolve to edit my videos. It's free. It's bad. I hate it. but I use it because it's free and it works. It works for what I need. Maybe you need something better. The only thing I'm paying for right now is a monthly subscription fee for Photoshop. And I don't think I'd even be doing that if I didn't care about the thumbnails as much as I do, but also didn't enjoy it. I enjoy it, and it's something that I would actually enjoy fiddling with, even if I wasn't, a YouTuber. Personal preference. There is nothing mandatory to record yourself other than a camera and a microphone only if you need audio, which you probably should have. Don't beat yourself up for not having the best of the best. The people that have the best of the best either had money coming into this, or they've become very successful over a long period of time, and then they could afford it. How is somebody uploading these great videos every day? They've got help. They're not doing it themselves. I get frustrated sometimes because I think that the people who are really successful that talk about their upload schedules could more often mention that they've got help instead of making it sound like they're doing all the work. I don't think they're even thinking about it. It's not malicious. They're not doing it selfishly. They're just not considering that when a budding YouTuber is watching their video, they're not considering that newbie to YouTube is probably thinking that they do everything themselves. Whatever. Anyways, thank you. I wish you the best of luck if you're deciding to start a channel. The other thing I'm going to say is, do what you want. I tried to do gaming for a little bit and it was bad. It wasn't good for me. It was so disingenuous. I love video games, but acting like, this jump scare in a video game was the spookiest thing that had ever happened to me in my life it was not real. And I realized that I didn't want to be a children entertainer, right? That's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to post videos that were, 90% of the demographic was 13-year-old boys. Nothing wrong with that. It just wasn't right for me. I felt like I was a bad actor when I was recording this video gameplay and commentating over it. And I'm glad that my friend Peter suggested that I do this, talk about my prison experiences, talk about my personal life, talk about the reality of addiction. I'm glad that he did that because I hope I would have stumbled into this on my own, but I hadn't yet. And I've really, really, really been enjoying this, have benefited from it, just from connecting with people in a real way. But it's also changed the way that I look at what I create. I'm not going to go too much into that, but basically I thought it's got to be funny or it's just not me. And that hasn't been the case. Most of my videos I don't think are centered around humor, but I've still enjoyed that a lot and been fulfilled by it and have discovered another part of me that I'm proud of because of this channel. So anyways, again, best of luck. Now on to the second part of the video. Okay, I lied. One more thing that I guess is technical, or at least about having a YouTube channel. I wanted to say that it's okay to treat yourself like a professional, even though you're not. Even though you may not be receiving any money from your views, or let's say you have a Patreon or whatever. It's okay to feel like a professional, because if you're putting in professional standards of work and you're working long hours on what you're creating, the only difference between you and a pro is that you're just not receiving income from it yet. And on that same note, one of the best things that I've done over the last year is let myself be convinced by my viewers and a couple good friends that it's okay that I create a Patreon, and I ask that if people are in a good position to financially and that they really, really want to, and it is a good choice for them, that they donate. Because it feels a little bit like a donation to me, but the truth is it's not just a charitable donation. I'm creating content that they feel that they benefit from. There's a product, and it's sort of just how this works. It's difficult to make a ton of money. I'm not trying to make a ton of money, but it's difficult to make a living just from views alone. And so that Patreon has been indispensable as far as helping me live my daily life and dedicate more time to this, something that I'm really loving, and even if the people that are giving money to my Patreon feel like it is just a charitable donation, they just want to help me out financially, that's okay too, as long as I am appreciative and they're comfortable with it, it's okay. And I know that I am appreciative. And as far as I can tell, they're happy to be doing it. It is okay to let someone help you. I don't like people to help me. I've always resisted it. And it's been a lesson that I needed to learn, that when people help you, they're not doing it all the time out of pity. They're also doing it because it makes them feel good. You allowing them to help you in some way helps them. So that was last thing. That was it. It's okay to treat yourself like a professional. I got a little too caught up in the beginning on views and I got to grow the channel, and it's been so much better as I've slowly started to shift my focus to just be genuine, just create stuff that you like, even if it's just me talking at a camera, and people have responded to it. I don't know if it's the best way to do things, but it's how I'm doing them, and it seems to be working on many different levels. Okay. Before we go into the next part of the video, today's piece of unrelated good news is that I think it was 11 homes were given away to 11 veterans. These were veterans that are continuing after coming back from active duty to serve their community. You know, they're volunteering, they're donating, they're active in their families' lives. And it's not like those are the only veterans that deserve help, but these are the veterans that got help, and they've been given homes that are completely paid for. These are not mansions, but these were families that needed help, and they got it. So I'm going to link this in the description down below, just so you can read more about it. The link I'm sending is to a safe website. It's going to look like, because it says, and you can win one too. I don't know why it says that. This is not the type of article that it is. So I'm not asking you to click on an ad. But my grandpa was actually my grandpa and grandma were veterans. And so I've always felt this really strong connection to people that had served in World War II. And these veterans are not of that era, but they're the same caliber of people. They're cut from the same cloth. They served their country. And I think in our modern age, sometimes veterans are neglected, oftentimes, but neglected by the population that should be grateful for them. When they return from active duty, whether it was literally combat or, at a base somewhere, out of combat or whatever, out of a combat zone. I'm not in the military. You can tell I don't know what words to use. They come back, and the population that they are returning to, a lot of that population has been against the war that they're fighting in. And so outwardly that can seem like they're, anti-soldier or whatever, anti-veteran, or at least they're neutral to it. They don't consider that even if they don't believe in the war that's being fought, the soldiers fighting in that war are still subjected to danger the same way as if they believed in the war, and they're still subjected to the trauma that happens. And best case scenario, subjected to the difficult life that a soldier has to live when they're moved away from the people and places that they love and required to live a certain life, and I think it's a shame, because I think even if you don't believe in the war that is being fought, you can be grateful of the soldiers being willing to fight any war for you. So enjoy the article. This is the part where I say consider leaving a like, leaving a comment, subscribing to the channel, and tuning back in for another video. But yes, on to the second part. Hey guys, happy to see you, even though I can't. If you are somebody that watches me regularly and you just skip the first part of the video or whatever, I'm glad that you're watching the second part, because it's sort of about you. I feel like I've learned a lot over the last year about myself and about how I interact with other people and my family, and the things that I care about and the things that I don't care about, and how to set boundaries. I've learned a lot, and I am not really embarrassed anymore, but I recognize now certain mindsets that I had when I first started on YouTube about, let's say a growth mindset, that if I wasn't growing quickly, then I must be failing. And a lot of that has changed because of you guys. So maybe this could have fit into the first part of the video, but I think it really belongs here. I'm happier being this guy today. This guy that is grateful for the people that watched a video or two of mine or whatever and stayed. And I don't just mean subscribed. I mean, that's great. I'm actually not talking about subscriptions at all. But that watch every video, whether they comment or like or whatever or not, but have stayed because they feel safe here. They feel that we're kindred spirits, or that the other people watching, that they're kindred spirits with them, that they feel like they're benefiting from it, that they feel inspired by it, whatever, that they feel challenged by it, and it makes them think, whatever it is. The change from it's a numbers game or whatever, and I was still relatively personal and pretty authentic, maybe even completely authentic when I first started, but the change from that into this, which is just like, whatever the number is, it's okay as long as there's people listening, and those people stick around because those people want to and benefit from it. Not like as long as they stick around so I can keep getting the views, but because they stick around, because you guys have stuck around, and you know, we are a community of people, and that's so much more valuable than, God, I hope I post a video and it goes viral and I get 1 million subscribers, but then they never watch another video because it was just a viral video that they clicked on and they subscribed, and a month later or a week later or a day later, they don't even remember me or that they subscribed. So that's been a really big change. Now, personally, what I wanted to talk about in this second half of the video is, I think one of the things I'm most proud of, potentially the thing I am most proud of this year that I have done or whatever, is that the things that I've tried to change about myself and my habits, the way I carry myself, have been like 97% genuine. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times in the past, I have said I wanted to change something or made a little half-assed effort, and was deluded, had tricked myself, had thought, had convinced myself that what I was doing was real effort, but it actually wasn't. It was more about, comforting myself emotionally so that when I returned to whatever was detrimental to me, I had some type of break, like some type of emotional spring cleaning, so I could just feel better and relieved for a little bit. An example would be like eating like, I always talk about food, eating like crap, and then for a week, like only eating salads. Literally, like every meal is a salad. Gross, like olives and garlic in the morning or whatever, but only salads. That wasn't a real effort to change the way that I live and change my physical self and change the way I feel physically, but it was a way to act out on the insecurity of body dysmorphia, or act out on the insecurity that I really don't like how I look, or that I'm getting heavier, or whatever it was. It wasn't about helping me become a healthier person. It was about comforting myself, but desperately comforting myself, like protecting myself from myself, I guess. And so the changes that I've made this year, even though most of them have been failures, they were successes as well because they were genuine. I've really been persistent. We'll keep it talking about food here. I've really been persistent with trying to find a way to eat that I'm comfortable with, and in a way that makes me feel better, but also is leading me to the body that I would like to have. And I tried, let's throw out an arbitrary number here, but maybe one that's actually pretty close to the real number. I forgot the word number for a second. 15 different things that I've tried. No this, no that, only this, try that, do this. All of them were really founded in, Max, I love you. And I want this to be fixed for you. You deserve to feel better about this. Not, I wasn't just putting a Band-Aid on something. I was trying something, really trying. And when it failed, I could check it off a list. That didn't work. We got to do something else. I wasn't planning my next binge. Even if I ended up binging again, it was me ending up somewhere I didn't want to be, but it wasn't me quitting. I tried something else, and I tried something else, and now I've stumbled onto something that does seem to be working. I wouldn't call it a complete success just yet, but I'm in a better place than where I was a year ago because I chipped away at it by trying different things. I mentioned in the first part of the video, take what works, leave the rest. I've taken what works, and I've left the rest of certain, things that I've done to be happier with how I'm eating. And so that is universal over the course of this last year. There may have been a couple things, I'm leaving room for that I really was just tricking myself. I actually wasn't interested in changing, but I just needed some emotional break from the damage I was doing. So I, faked it or whatever for a week and then just went back because I didn't care. I don't really know what those things are, but I'm sure I haven't been perfect because I'm not perfect. And none of us are perfect. But most of the things that I've done this year, whether it's trying to form a better relationship with my dad, trying to set a healthy relationship with my, toxic brother, trying to set a boundary with my mom so she's, gets to feel actively involved in my life, but isn't doing everything for me. Whether I've, tried to be more financially independent. Like, I wouldn't say any of these things are done. They're not done. They're not finished. They're not perfect, but I have made real efforts in those areas. And because of that, things have gotten better. I haven't solved it, right? The equation is not finished, but my life has improved. I didn't have to win. I just had to try to win. And because of that, I won. You know what I'm saying? So I had some stuff written down just because I wanted to remember it, but I basically said it. I think over the course of this last year, I've become a more genuine person. And I'll actually give myself some credit. I'll give past me some credit. I think even when I was in the throes of, awful active addiction, I was still pretty genuine about my life. That's just sort of how I'm wired. So I think what I'm really saying is over the course of this last year, I've become more honest with myself. And it has been so important, and it has been so helpful. It is a lot harder to continue doing things that I don't want to be doing when I'm honest with myself. Like failing, talking about failing something, trying something and it not working out. That's normal. That's human. That is absolutely going to happen. If you're trying to change something, trying to challenge yourself to be better, to like yourself more, you're going to fail. You couldn't convince me to doubt that. Every one of us will fail at that many, many, many times, and probably many more times than we'll succeed. And that's, like I said, normal, healthy, good. It is only unhealthy. It is only bad. It is only dishonest or whatever when we're tricking ourselves into thinking we're trying when we actually aren't. That's when it becomes toxic. When you tell yourself something is fine when it isn't. When you tell yourself that you're making changes when you're actually not trying to. And so some things are coming to mind that I could have done better this year, that I could have been more honest with myself about. Actually, yeah, a couple things. Finances, I would say there's a couple parts of that I could have done better, and probably my workload. There's whatever. I'm not going to go into it because then the video will be 3 hours long. But I'm proud of myself for even in those areas getting to a more honest place. As long as I'm honest with myself, I believe firmly that I can basically do anything within whatever human capabilities. I'm not going to fly without being on a plane. You know what I'm saying? But I really do believe that I can basically achieve whatever I want to as long as I'm honest with myself about what's working and what's not, and that I be persistent. And it doesn't matter how quickly I think something should happen or will happen. That's not really up to me. It seems like it should be, I think. It's up to me a little bit, but sort of not, because I don't choose how I'm wired. I don't, all the influences that were in my life when I was 5 years old, parents, people around me, friends, school, teachers, peers, pets, whatever, that created me today, I didn't get a hand in that, really. I was not a victim to it, but I was a sponge. And so that's the hand that I was dealt, and that's the hand that I'm working with. And I want to make some poker analogy, but I'm not going to. So some of that wiring doesn't allow me to be immediately successful, especially when it comes to bad habits that involve the hijacking of my dopamine reward centers. But I can still overcome and be successful in those areas if I'm persistent. It's just not up to me. Like, it's not going to be an overnight thing if my wiring is not set up for it to be. But I don't think any of that is insurmountable. It's just a question of how long am I going to be persistent for? And if I remain persistent until the problem's fixed, well, then there you go. The problem got fixed. And also trying to not be so self-critical, because I super am, and you guys know it. So thank you, everyone, for a wonderful year. We're still going. Obviously, this is a little weird. It's the 11th of November. It's not like, this seems like something I should post on December 31st or something, but it made sense to post it now. So this is when I'm posting it. So take that. Dummy. Idiot. Deal with it. Thank you, guys. Take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you soon.